I'm Andrew,
And I'm Joe. Welcome to Joe and Andrew's Education Adventures.
and we're glad that you're here with us as we talk to Tom Tello, our head varsity football coach at Paloma Valley High. Thanks for being here, Tom.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, why don't you tell
Well,
us a little bit of what you do, Tom, at Paloma? We know you're the football coach, but what do you teach? How long you've been teaching, stuff like that.
Sure. So I teach Earth Science and Science 9 at Paloma.
Okay.
This is my 17th year overall teaching
Wow.
and my 14th in the district. So 14th year in the district, 17th overall, and mostly taught Earth Science the entire time. And then this year we started Science 9, so off to a new adventure.
right on. It's Science 9. What kind of standards are you teaching in there?
So it's mostly like a physical science course, kind of a continuation of 8th grade science into high school conceptual physics. And so we're learning as we're going. It's definitely been a new challenge to start a new course and do it virtually at the same time.
Is that somewhat of an advantage because you're starting anyway to do it, or does that just make it that much more worse?
It's been interesting. It's forced me to learn technology. So I'm not really that big of a tech person, I would say. And so it's really forced me to go out, and we did a flip grid today for the first time in my life. Yeah, so it's good. I feel like I'm kind of learning with the kids, and I have to be honest and upfront and tell them, like, hey, I don't know if this is going to work, so we'll try it. And if it does, great. And if it doesn't, then we'll try again. And it's not a big deal. So I don't know. I felt like with the circumstances, it's the right time to try new things because
That's a good way of putting it.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, I think all of us, but just trying to find those new skills and taking some risks. And it's kind of cool, that attitude you bring in there of basically like, hey, this may or may not work. So, hopefully it does. And if not, then we'll just try again another time. No big deal.
Right.
Great.
Tom, you're in a couple different worlds then. You're in the science department, but you're also in obviously athletics and stuff like that. So you can pick what's your favorite thing about either department or both departments? Like what do you enjoy about your colleagues and the dynamics there?
I enjoy them both, and I obviously the science lets me do what I went to college for, and that's I have a bachelor's in biology, and science was kind of my first thing, and then the athletics lets me kind of have a bigger impact with kids, and you can do more than just the 745 to 310, and you get a chance to really kind of help them grow into solid young adults. And so I enjoy them both, and it would be hard to do one without the other.
Nice.
Right on. Yeah. So I you're thinking that 745 to 310, but as we're filming this, like we are not at all being able to interact with our athletes. It's certainly not together. Like we can talk to them a little bit. So how are you dealing with that? Because your fall has got to be 100% different.
I will say this is the one giant positive is that we're not practicing in 110 degree heat. And so I do sometimes think like, a January start date isn't such a bad thing when it comes to the weather, but everything else is obviously a huge challenge. And when this first started, the first thing that we told the kids was, we're going to follow these rules to a T. And so we're not going to look for ways around it. And we're going to do the Google Meets, and we'll give you the workouts. And when we're told that it's clear to come back, we're going to come back. And so it's made it hard to prepare, but everybody else is in the same boat, and we understand that. And so hopefully we can get started soon.
What when you interact with your athletes, like what is that even like? Like, I mean, you've got normally your football team is huge. So how do you keep them all on the same page? Like, what are you doing to kind of manage that?
So we built a 6-week workout program, and that way they knew what was coming, and it wasn't me just posting workouts daily. We're wrapping up our 6th week this week, and so they have a plan where they can be doing that at the right time that fits for them. And then we still Google Meet during our synchronous time and try to just be as honest as I can with them about everything that's going on. And then we'll start putting things in the next couple of weeks virtually if we can't be in person. But we still have time. And so if you kind of backdate our calendar and look at our first game being January 7th, we would only be about spring right now. And so we still have plenty of time to get everything we need in to be successful and and the kids know that. They're ready to go, but at the same time, we have enough time. You know?
Yeah, I know. Coaching cross country, like I know we're doing the fall, is like for me, like the best thing going on is we always practice at 6 a.m., which means I'm at school by like 5:30 every day during the fall, and getting to sleep in. Oh, it's great. But I'm the same. When I look at the calendar and I have to keep reminding the team, like we're not even into the summer where we would normally be. We wouldn't even be running together right now. We would be on a break. So we're actually ahead of schedule in that sense of where we normally are. So as far as training schedules go, which is kind of cool. As long as we get to start meeting together soon, hopefully, and then we can enjoy it.
Right. And that's just the biggest thing. And it's hard for the kids too. I'm sure they're looking around and you know, there's different counties on different guidelines, and so they're seeing different things, and you know, it's hard for all of us to understand. And then so I'm kind of at the point where I don't even look anymore. I'm just waiting for our bosses to tell us when it's good to go, and that's when we'll go, because I can't understand the charts as it is.
Yeah.
Now, both of you guys as coaches, do you find that your athletes are having to make different kind of choices on which sports they play because of the way the new schedule is with the spring start? Like, are athletes hopping around or not able to be that multi-sport athlete as much?
I could see it being difficult, especially in the spring. Mm-hmm. So in the fall or in January, that's the fall sports. Usually football wouldn't conflict with any of the other sports that are happening in the fall. But they are going to have to make some hard choices in the spring when you double up winter and spring sports. And that's something that we've always, you know, since I've been at Paloma, we don't just say, hey, go play other sports, but we openly allow it. It's not just lip service. We want them to be involved in as many sports as possible, and we will make as many accommodations as we have to make sure that they can experience more than one sport in high school, which I think they should.
Mm. Yeah. So we definitely, I mean, I've been talking to several athletes that, like, I have some wrestlers that want to swim, or tennis players that want to swim. And of course, we're going to have like soccer players that normally also do track, basketball players, volleyball players, and this year those things are going to be really hard if any athletes are able to do it or not, when those sports that normally don't even happen at the same time or happen at the same time. So I know I've already talked to some coaches, and we're trying to figure out if it's possible to share the athlete in season. So I don't know if it's going to work yet. We really don't know, because we have hopeful dates, but everything's just fingers crossed and wait and see.
So what does Friday nights now look at the Tello house? I mean, like, you know, Friday nights, or, you know, you had probably a whole routine during the fall. What are you guys doing?
It is totally different. And that was my wife and I were talking about it, and she's great to let me coach, because it is such a strain on her and the family. But I've been involved with high school football pretty much consecutively since my freshman year in high school. So every Friday night, you know, in the fall for the last 20 some odd years has been, in one way or another, high school football. And so this has been a different experience. But other people aren't playing in our state. So I think it would be extremely different if, like, you knew there were other games going on. But this just kind of feels like an extended off season, I guess, more than missing anything yet, if that makes sense.
Right.
So are you guys like Disney Plus on Friday night now, or?
Oh, yeah. We have a whole routine, and we go get frozen yogurt on Friday night. That's kind of our thing, and so we go do that, and then we come back, and, you know, the kids eat pizza, and that's the deal. So I'm sure in a lot of ways they're excited, you know, to have me home and not have me gone.
So one of the questions we ask our guests often is like, well, if you weren't a teacher, coach, what other career would you have? And I'm sure with this shutdown, you've had time to kind of like, maybe I think about this, maybe not. But like, what if you couldn't be a coach or teacher, what would you be?
For my dream job, and this is terrible, but my dream job is the back of the tram at Disneyland, from the parking structure to the park. Like, that's when I retire. I'm working. I want people to get their hands and arms inside the vehicle at all times, and to sit down. But I was sad, and I was joking about it with some of the other coaches, but Disneyland's non-essential, so I'm gonna have to change up my plans because they're not.
Right.
Right.
Or you're gonna have to relocate to Florida.
Right.
Open over there.
They're open, so that's I always joke with my class. That's always been my dream. So we'll see if we can make it happen.
I think that job's going to be automated and run by some kind of robot by the time you retire. You're too young, for that job to be around.
22 years, not that I'm counting.
Yeah.
22. I got
Yeah.
How many more?
22.
Oh, nice. Okay. I think I got about the same. So
Yeah.
we'll have a party 22 years from now. Like it's 2020, and when we were young, at least, we thought like, man, 2020, the world's gonna be so crazy and different. They're gonna have whatever. What's something that we don't have that maybe when you were a kid and thinking of this time, you thought we would?
I guess automated cars or flying cars, right? And I guess we're already there on the automated, maybe, but it's like I think that you just thought that would be here by now. It seems like we're close. So
yeah.
Any other anything else that you do to help yourself stay grounded or positive during this time?
So I've been riding the Peloton. I ride the Peloton and run. So I try to work out 4 or 5 times a week, and that usually gives me a little bit of a break.
Mm-hmm. What's something that you're watching, listening to, you find entertaining or inspiring that you can give us some tips on, or give a little pointer towards?
So I found the John Maxwell podcast a couple years ago. He's a leadership guy, and so he says some really good things, and so that's one of those ones that I listen to for motivation and kind of keeping me centered. I think is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So,
sorry, is that a podcast you listen to or something you read?
Yeah, it's a podcast. He writes books as well, but the podcasts seem to fit perfect when you're driving to work or on the way home or something like that. So.
Yeah, I listen to a couple leadership podcasts, and he's often referenced in a lot of them. Like, hey, John Maxwell, like he's kind of the leadership guru guy, and especially in your position with so many assistant coaches and all the players, that's definitely something that you have to be aware of in trying to influence all those young men.
Yeah, for sure, and trying to grow as a leader yourself, right? You're constantly learning and trying to get better, and I'm certainly not there yet, but try to get a little bit better every day.
Well, on this crazy adventure,
let's keep learning.
All right. Thanks, Tom.
All right,
thanks, Tom. Appreciate it, man.